Hello everybody, Slim Kirby here, welcome back to more Let's Play Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. Today we are going to start Chapter 5 of Part 1. But first, map commentary.
The history of Tellius is a history of warfare, or so the troubadours sing. It is a history of unending conflict between the Bjork and the Laguz, a history penned in blood and scarred by mistrust. The Bjork fight with the weapons of man, the sword, the axe, the lance, and the magic arts, while the Laguz, able to transform into beast, bird, and dragon, are weapons unto themselves. Both were created equally by the goddess, but neither race has ever accepted the other. The Heron Prince, Raphael, the Wolf Queen of Hatari, Nyla, and her vassal, Volug. Is the Dawn Brigade's meeting with these three Laguz chance, or a sign of things to come? Micaiah can only wonder.
Chapter 5, The Lost Heir. So yeah, since last chapter was kind of a depart from what we were actually intended to do in the Desert of Death, we're actually going to get back on point now and actually try to find the lost heir of King Ashnard. And Micaiah is sure that there is someone out there, so yeah, we're going to make sure we can find it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the info and support conversations that we can do. Oh wow, that's a lot of gold. So yeah, we got 1,000 gold, or 10,000 gold from that conversation. Next, let's talk to Nyla. Yeah, Nyla is pretty blunt, I have to say. But yeah, we actually have a new character now. Meet Volug. Or Volug, whatever his name is. I honestly don't know. He is our first Laguz unit, so I kind of talked about Laguz already in the last chapter, so I'm not going to bother explaining again. There is a difference, though. I mentioned Tiger and Cat Laguz in the last chapter. Volug is actually a Wolf Laguz, which is a little bit different, but still pretty much the same. He acts kind of like in between a cat and a tiger, with, you know, like kind of a balance of the two. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just the way I've always seen it, so That's just my own take on that. He does have an ability. First he has Howl, which can immobilize an enemy unit for 1 turn after that enemy uses an indirect attack, which can be kind of helpful, but in another way, not really. And he also has a skill called Wild Heart. It cuts experience points gained in half, but allows the unit to transform at any time. And that's kind of what Nyla was talking about during that info conversation. So, half-shifting is a pretty useful feature, but as she said, the abilities that the unit gets is not as powerful as, you know, a full shift, which is kind of the downside. As for Volug as a unit, I'm honestly not very experienced with Lagoo's units. I never really use them, except one unit, and that's only in the endgame. So I honestly couldn't really tell you if Volug's a great unit, a good unit, a bad unit, or anything like that. He does become, you know, a very helpful unit in this part of the game, because you can kind of use him as a way of defending your other units. He might sometimes get the kills, though, which you may not want, and, you know, because of his ability, he'll get, like, very little experience for that. But, you know, he is a good, like, defensive unit you can use in this part of the game, which is, I guess, a positive you can say about him. In terms of long-term, I really couldn't tell you, so that's basically my take on Volug. And yeah, let's go back to the info conversations. Laura and Aaron. Okay, we'll learn more about their backstory. That's actually kind of funny. I forgot how funny some of these conversations were. How old do you think I am, anyway? There was kind of a similar joke in Path of Radiance in one of Titania's support conversations. But yeah, speaking of that, I actually did some research since I recorded the first 3 chapters. You know how I was talking about, like, how they didn't give the Dawn Brigade very much backstory at all? Well, apparently there is a little more backstory to the Dawn Brigade, but for some reason the developers actually cut it out. And I'll explain it in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording for a little bit, just so I can do all this other stuff off camera. Because I know you guys don't want to watch me do a bunch of, buying items and, just messing with my characters. So I'll save you guys the trouble and then just show you what I did off camera. So, okay, yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Here's what I did off camera. I leveled up Micaiah and Laura once with bonus experience. I gave Soth a bronze knife, Edward an iron sword and a wind edge, and I also gave Aaron a iron lance. I also did a bunch of stuff with just putting items away into my convoy. That's basically all I did, so let's go ahead and save our game and continue. A few things I should probably mention. The item Beast Foe that we got in the last chapter that we found hidden, that is actually a skill, not a weapon. I don't know why I thought it was a weapon. I was thinking of the Beast Killer. But yeah, basically, Beast Foe is a skill that can allow you to do more damage against Laguz units. It can be very helpful. And Valug actually senses a lot of Bjorks, so we're gonna follow his nose and go there. And for those of you wondering about, oh wow, more familiar characters. Even more familiar characters. Even more familiar characters. Wow. 3 characters from Path of Radiance making appearances here. How convenient. So yeah, I'll actually talk about them later, because now they're green units, which mean basically they fight on their own, we can't control them, so that's basically what a green unit means. But anyway, let's get prepared for this battle. Normally what I usually do is I send 1 or 2 units down here and kind of focus all my other units on these random guys. But in my last playthrough I had a different strategy which actually worked a little bit differently. I'm actually going to ignore these guys and let them come to me, and then deal with this giant massive units now. I found that that's actually a little more helpful, because you don't want to get like overwhelmed up here if you don't send your whole fighting power up here. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. I'm going to put Aaron right here. Maybe I might take him up here. I haven't really decided yet. Let's see. I'll put my strongest units in front, obviously. Even though Meg's not really my strongest unit, but whatever. And that should be fine the way it is. Save my game. And let's get started. So as I was saying, one of the items I gave Soth was a bronze knife. The difference between knives and daggers, there's also the card, which I believe is just a dagger anyway. But the difference between these 2 weapons is that daggers are more accurate, but you can actually use knives from a distance. So you can throw knives, which is pretty cool. But yeah, there are distanced knives you can use, like, the bronze knife, iron knife, silver knife. There's a whole variation of knives you can get in this game. But yeah, just thought I'd explain that first, and let's get started. Okay, well, first, I'm going to take Soth and... well, actually, wait, let me see what Aaron can do by himself. Can't quite kill him, which is kind of a shame. Well, I'll see if I need Aaron down here first, so that might actually be a better idea. I'm gonna see what I can do down here first. This chapter can actually be pretty tough, because there are a lot of units you have to take care of on, like, the first turn. And if you don't take care of them, you're going to be not so much screwed, but, you know, it'll be kind of hard to recover from something like that early on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to make a little bit of a wall. Wait, can this guy get me? I'm kind of worried about Edward's resistance, because he has no resistance. And if he gets attacked by one of these guys, he's pretty much dead. I could just, you know, keep him back. But still. Ah, what the heck. I'll put Soft right here. Give him the dagger, and I'll just put Edward right here. And can any of these guys attack? Doesn't look like it, so I'm actually going to put Micaiah right here and see if maybe the mage can actually go for her. I doubt that'll happen, though. I really doubt that it will. And yeah, I'll just go ahead and use Aaron up here. Just making sure all of my units are safe, which they are. And there we go. So yeah, we actually have some friendly units with us here today on this battle. And friendly in the, hey, I remember you guys, kind of way. I'll go ahead and show them off. It's actually kind of cool because both Zahark and Jill were actually characters I used in my playthrough of Path of Radiance. My Let's Play of it, I mean. Will I use them both again? I have no idea. I guess we'll just have to find out. But yeah, you really don't have to worry about them that much, because generally I think they can survive pretty well without you. And even if they die, like, I don't think that means, like, they'll actually be dead. I think you can still, like, use them in the future. It's just that they have to, you know, retreat from the battle. Now with General Torneo, the guy on the green square, if he goes down, I think you do lose in that case, but Torneo, if I remember correctly, is a level 14 or 15 general. So I don't think he's going to go down. Especially on normal mode, you pretty much don't have to do anything on this chapter but just defend yourself. And Zahark is a sword master, which means he can critical things like crazy. And unfortunately for Jill, Jill's only a Draco Knight, which is actually the lowest promotion she can be. And that pretty much means that both her and Ileana are the only two characters from Path of Radiance that don't promote in this game, which is kind of sucky, because both of them can actually be pretty good units, but whatever, that's what the game wanted them to do, I guess. Still don't quite understand it, though, but whatevs.